Hello everyone, Kirk Williamson with Cape Ann Photo Tours. Today, I'd like to thank everyone for subscribing to this channel. We passed 1,000 subscribers over the weekend. It's been a long haul, but I've enjoyed every minute of it. We're gonna change things up going forward here. We're gonna do more informational tutorial type work. And today is one of those. We're going down to White Wharf here in Rockport. And I'm bringing with me my Leica. It's a rangefinder camera. I've got the 50mm Summilux on here. It's a 1.4 lens. The difference is this really is not the type of lens that I'd be doing with this type of work, but I like to get out of my comfort zone and try new things. So today we're going to do some depth of field work, and I pretty much know what's going to be in focus and what isn't going to be in focus, but depending on what your plane of focus is what this lens is good for. So anyway, here we go, off to White Wharf. Well, the first thing I found is how this wharf is really held together. Not only are the granite blocks stacked up on top of each other, but they're held together with rebar and all sorts of interesting things. In black and white, this could be a very interesting photograph. Sorry about the wind. Now my depth of field here is going to be interesting. This is a full frame camera, so what happens with that is with our depth of field is less than it would be with a crop sensor camera. So, and since we don't have a lot of light, we'll see what happens, but I'm going to try and make sure the planes line up here. So I'm going to be focusing about a third of the way in, see what I get. Boy, I was a little bit out of my comfort zone shooting with the 50mm lens. The depth of field on this lens is really kind of short, and I never ever use this lens at f/16. I'm usually using it at 1.4 because it's a documentary lens, really. But it was great to kind of use it for something different today. This image here was shot at f/16. I've got the rebar going out of the frame like this. See what it looks like vertically. It's another important thing is to shoot different formats. In other words, change your way of thinking a little bit from vertical to horizontal. It makes a big difference sometimes. With this vertical image here taken at f8, you can see that everything below the red line is sharp as a tack, and where my focus point is about a third of the way into the image. Now this next image is shot at f/16 and everything is tack sharp. And what that means is my plane's lined up, but also f/16 is the way to go. I really like the way this corner is laid out. Got some nice rebar that leads into this frame. It's kind of interesting. I got to make sure I'm held up pretty good. It should, you know, a tripod would make this a lot easier, but I'm shooting handheld today. I can make this so that it's right in the middle, but you know, it's right directly in the middle of the frame. But I kind of like it offset a little bit. Kind of a lot of things offset like that. I'll try another angle here too. In this image here, which was also shot at f8, you can see that everything below the red line is nice and sharp, and my focus point is about a third of the way up into the image. But the top half of the image is out of focus. In this next image, which was shot at f/16, everything is sharp all the way through with the same focus point. Another interesting corner section here. Gotta back up a little bit. Since this image was shot more at a flatter angle, I was able to get everything in focus at f11, which is great. There's more in the foreground, f8. Oops, gonna back up a little bit, keep forgetting. This is a 50mm lens. Before I focus on the foreground more, 30th of a second. Now that's probably a third of the way in where I'm focusing. You can see what I was looking at here in the back of the camera. And as you can tell, this image shot at f8. Not the whole image is in focus. Everything below the red line is in focus, but everything above it is out of focus. Focus point's about a third of the way in. This image shot here at f16, everything is sharp all the way through with the same focus point. Now this image is shot straight down, so f8 was fine for the whole thing to be in focus. And really, it was the only one that I thought was worthy of converting over to black and white. And I used Silver Effects Pro and High Structure Smooth to get it to look like this, and then I messed around with it a little bit more in Lightroom. Well, thanks for looking at this video today. We had a good time down at White Wharf. It's a great place. Too bad it was so gray and gloomy out, but use this Leica, the rangefinder here with a 50mm Summilux on it. It was a lot of fun working with depth of field, and I hope you got a little bit out of it. We're going to be doing more of these types of videos, instructional, and therefore trying to get you to learn how to use the camera a little bit better and different types of camera. This is a full frame camera, so it's a little bit different than the Fuji. The Fuji is going to give you a little bit more depth of field because the sensor is smaller. So if you like this video from down on White Wharf, we did a little bit of depth of field work with a full frame camera, rangefinder camera, that would be great. Give me a comment, a like, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That would be great. And if you wouldn't mind, check out capeandphototours.com. We've got some great workshops coming up in the fall. We got one in Midcoast, Maine, and we got another one back here in Rockport 2 weeks later. That would be great. So take a look, and we'll see you next time.